Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft the Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we simulated the season, and our team managed to make the playoffs again despite our off-season losses. We finished 44, 29, and 9, so just barely in a playoff spot, but the team still had a pretty interesting season. We are coming into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak, which is a little bit iffy, but hopefully this team could just start turning around in the playoffs. But anyways, I will show you guys our roster again just in case you forget, and then I'll show you guys the Minnesota Wild roster since that's who we're going to be taking on in round 1. But as you can see, our team isn't really necessarily the greatest team on paper, but it's not the worst either. Like, we do have a lot of 80s still, some 70s, so we're just basically filling out our roster with a lot of former players that came back, like Tursabayev in Sador. Defensively is where we're strong, and that's actually where we simulated the best as well, is all these defensemen helped us out, and we had a positive goal differential, I'm pretty sure, but we were still one of the worst offensive teams in the league, so hopefully our offense could do better in terms of the playoffs. And then goalie wise, Benson and what's his name, Sweat, were not too bad during the season. Sweat actually had more shutouts than Benson. We only had one shutout combined between the two of these goalies this year, so it's kind of a little bit weird, but both of them had really similar stats. So we're probably going to start with Benson in the playoffs as per usual, obviously, because he's an 84. But if he doesn't simulate that good, we could always turn to Sweat, even though he's only a 76, and see what he's made of. So there is that. And yeah, hopefully our team could have a good run this year, and if not, then we're going to lose probably more players in the offseason and so on and so forth. But hopefully we could start drafting some players that actually get into the NHL, because a lot of these guys in the AHL have not been developing that well, and I really don't know why. We might need to find a new AHL head coach or something, but a lot of these guys have just been sitting right at their overalls the entire time, so it's kind of been a bit of a bad one there. But anyways, let's get into this first round. But first, like I said, I will take a look at the Minnesota Wild roster again, just in case you don't remember. It's not really the greatest roster, I would say, but it's still solid. It's definitely better than ours. But as you can see, Rangers is definitely their best player. They also have Kaprizov. They have Robertson, who's not too bad. But there's a lot of like low 80s and then some 70s and stuff like that. So it's kind of a mixed and matched team, it seems like. So I really don't know what to make of their forward core. And then defensively, they're pretty much the same type of thing. So it's kind of a really weird looking team. Should be interesting to definitely see who wins this first round. And goalie wise, this is where they're the strongest at, is Wallstead and Nemes. So this is probably where they have us beat, is goaltending. Otherwise, I would say it's kind of evenish in terms of forwards and defense. I don't know the exact ratings, but should be an interesting first round nonetheless. So let's get into this first round matchup and see if we could be the underdog and get ourselves back to the second round, because we've been to the conference finals at least 3 times. We've been to the cup finals 1 time, so we've been more successful than my Arizona team as of this recording, but hopefully that's not for too much longer. So anyways, let's get into game number 1 in Minnesota and see if we could be the underdog with Benson and net. And hopefully Benson could play good. If he doesn't, like I said, we could always turn to Sweat. So we'll see what that is. First period of game number 1 in Minnesota. And it's 1-1. I'll take that for sure. Short-handed goal from Teretukin. So a defenseman with a short-handed goal, that's a little bit different. And then Sanders scores a power play goal on that same power play. So that's kind of weird. Shots are 13-9 in favor of Minnesota after 1, but it is a tied game. Second period, 2-1 for Minnesota. That's not great. Cummins scores on Benson. The shots are 25-15 in favor of them, so we're getting peppered in shots. Let's see what happens in the third and see if we could tie this game up at 2. Come on, boys. Jaskalainen, I want you to see you score since you're our big guy. Maybe you're a better defenseman, I don't know. Who wants to score on this team? Scuderi, maybe. Oh, Ladikainen scores to make it 3-1. Yeah, I don't really know how good our chances are of getting out of this first round, but maybe if we could beat this underdog team and win against Minnesota, that would be nice. But we scored first, but then we give up 3 goals. The only goal in that game for us, Teretukin from Jaskalainen, and our goaltender Benson gets an assist, which is interesting. He had 3 of those during the regular season. So Jaskalainen continues to be a good playoff player by picking up an assist, but we do lose game 1. I'm not going to make any line changes yet because that was still an okay defensive effort, but we definitely need our offense to step up. So I think what I'm going to do already is change the lines back to kind of the way they were, and then move Kapitanov back up. We should try and get all this chemistry back to where it was at the beginning of the year, but it's kind of hard to get it there. I could try moving Tursenbayev up, and defense could stay the same probably, unless I want to try and get all this chemistry back. Yeah, well, let's just try and get a lot of chemistry throughout our lineup as much as possible. And yeah, Benson was not too bad that game, but if he loses this next game, we will turn to Sweat and give him an opportunity, because maybe Sweat, being a low overall, could be a good goalie. Nobody in the NHL has ever seen Sweat before in the playoffs, so maybe he could actually be that kind of underdog story and win us the Stanley Cup or something. But here we go, game number 2 in Minnesota. Let's see if we could tie this series up at 1 apiece. I almost said 2 apiece. That wouldn't make sense at all. Here we go. First period, 2-0 Minnesota. That's not good at all. Connor McMichael scores a power play goal, and Pierre-Luc Dubois scores. So our penalty kill's not been that great to start off with. We are out shooting him now 13-8. So hopefully we can start converting in the second period and get ourselves back into this game. Second period, 2-1. Okay, I definitely will take that power play goal from Ortiz to pull us within 1. We are still out shooting him 24-17, only down by a goal now, so hopefully we can tie this one up here early in the third, if that is the case. Third period underway. Let's see if we can tie it up. Who wants to step up and tie this game at 2, please? Somebody. Teratukin. Oh, Jääskeläinen does it. Okay. Of course it's Jääskeläinen. Jääskeläinen literally, I don't know, he's just a better player in the playoffs than he is in the regular season too. It's kind of weird. Like, he turns to a new level, new gear. And it looks like we are going to overtime in game 2. It is 2-2. The shots are 35-24 in favor of us, so we've been actually having a pretty strong game here. Let's see what happens in overtime and see if we could tie the series up headed home, which would be really nice. Come on, boys. Who wants to be the hero? If I say that, then Jääskeläinen will probably do something. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Come on, boys. We have over 40 shots. And, yep, we're going to score. A Fenisenkov scores, of all people. Okay, not who I was expecting, but we do manage to get the tied series heading home, which is really big. Shots were 45-33, and Fenisenkov has your winner. That was really nice. So, Ortiz from Skidarian Forster, Jääskeläinen from Thornton and Kapitanov, and Fenisenkov from Forster. I kind of figured when they were up 2-0 that we were going to come back, but I really didn't know. Because sometimes you come back in those games, but most of the times, well, most of the time you do come back, I think. 100% sure with that. Any minus players? No. Good. And a very solid performance from Benson, so he's definitely going to stay in net. He gets first star of the game, Wallstead second star, and Jääskeläinen in the third. He had 6 hits in that game. Jeez. Jääskeläinen literally does everything. He's like the Agostino of this mode, I find. Okay. Okay, so we have a 1-1 series, and we are headed back home, which is great. Hopefully we could use this kind of home ice advantage we have now to our advantage, and hopefully we could win both these and go up 3-1. That would be really nice. So here we go, game 3 in Houston. Let's see if we could take a 2-1 series lead. We're going to stay with Benson since he was really good last game. First period, 2-0 them again, so we have another 2-goal lead to come back from. 2 goals on 4 shots. So not a good performance so far from Benson, which means we might be turning to Sweat for next game, which would not be good. Shots are 12-4 in favor of us, but we're somehow down 2-0 on goals from Ovechkin and Sanders. Second period, still 2-0, not good. We're out shooting them 23-12, but we have yet to score. So Wallstead is shining this time, it seems like. And then, yeah, not a great game from Benson. Third period, let's see if we could get back in this game. We need 2 goals in the third period, penalty kill. And we can't score, or they scored there, as Ovechkin gets a power play goal. Power play for us, and we get one right back from Gene Thornton. Can we get 2 more goals this late? Probably not. Come on, boys. Yeah, we're going to be down 2-1 in the series, which is not great. We lost a home game, lose 3-1, even though we outshot them 36-25. So Wallstead really stole the show in that game, which is unfortunate. So our only goal was Thornton from Jääskeläinen. So yeah, Jääskeläinen's still literally picking up points in every playoff game we play, it seems like. Even if we have a weaker team, which is weird. Yeah, Jääskeläinen does everything on this team. Benson was not great either, especially early in that game, but he kind of slowed down afterwards. But I think I am going to give Sweat an opportunity, which might seem a little bit weird, but maybe Sweat has the answer to winning a playoff round. I don't really know, because I don't really trust Benson fully, but I do to an extent too. So Jääskeläinen is point per game. And we will go goalie-wise. We'll go with Sweat instead of Benson, which might be weird, but maybe he's a good playoff goalie. And then in terms of the rest of our roster, I think I'll keep most of it the same. Yeah, I think I'll keep most of it the same. Yeah, let's keep the rest of that the same, and then the defense will stay the same as well. So yeah, just basically Sweat is going to start this game. Just to give Benson a little bit of rest, because maybe he needs rest. Which is kind of risky doing this, considering if we lose this game, we're going to be down 3-1. Which hopefully won't be the case. So, here we go. Sweat's playoff debut. And it's on home ice. We win this game, we have a tie series again, heading to Minnesota. If we lose this game, we go down 3-1. Come on, boys. Well, let's tie the series up again. First period, scoreless. I'll definitely take that. Shots are 16-8 in favor of us. So all of a sudden, Wallsted's been like locked in. Because last game he was really good. This game he's off to a really good start as well. So that's kind of scary. Second period, 1-1. I'll take that for sure. Ortiz scores another power play goal. So our power play has been good, but our penalty kill hasn't really been. Ristolainen ties the game up at 1 apiece. The shots are now 25-24 in favor of them. So they had a lot of shots in that second period. So it's kind of surprising that we're out here tied. Let's see what happens in the third period. See if we could get our lead back. Please, guys, who wants to score to make it 2-1 for us? Thornton, apparently. Let's go, Gene. Of course, leave it to somebody on the top 6. Because the bottom 6 isn't really going to do much offensively in the playoffs, I don't think. We got to rely heavily on like our top line and whatnot to get us through games. And we're going to win 2-1, and we have a tie series headed back to Minnesota. So this has been a really weird back-and-forth series. But we win 2-1. Ortiz from Hedman and Sedin, and then Thornton from Kapitanov and Jääskeläinen, who continues his point streak at 4 games now. Watch, he's going to pick up points every game instead of Game 7. And Sweat was really good in his playoff debut. Like, he's so good that we might have to start him again. We might have found ourselves our playoff goalie, who knows. And then, yeah, Thornton gets second star, Wallstead the third. So, I think I'm going to start Sweat again, even though Benson was really good in some games. Might as well keep with the hot goalie until they end up losing, you know, that type of thing. Because right now, we're just trying to find the goalie that gets us the Stanley Cup. Doesn't matter who it is. So, we'll go back to Sweat again and see if he can continue his hot hand from that first game. Maybe it's going to be a different on the road, who knows. But here we go, game number 4, or is it 4 or 5? Game number 5, yeah. In Minnesota, let's see if we could take a 3-2 series lead here, or are we going to be trailing in the series for the third time? Come on, boys. First period, we're up 1-0. Let's go. Scuderi beats Wallstead. Shots are 12-8 in favor of us, and we're up 1-0. So another good period from our goaltending and defense, and our offense has not been really that good in this playoffs, but at least we've been a good defensive team. Second period, still 1-0. Wow, okay, Sweat has been locked in. He's only faced 14 shots this game, but we are still leading 1-0. It's too bad we haven't added some more insurance goals to that 1 goal, though, because I don't like playing with a 1-goal lead, really. Third period, let's see what happens. See if we could get some more insurance in this game. Sweat has been locked in, but he allows a goal from Kaprizov, of course. Of course, we're going to allow in a third period goal. Come on, boys, let's get the lead back, though. And, of course, Ladikainen gives them the lead. I don't blame Sweat on this game, to be honest. It's because the team just kind of, like, didn't convert in that second period, and we're going to lose this game by a score of 2-1. And once again, we are trailing for the third straight time in the series. Well, not third straight time. Well, yeah, actually, I guess third straight time. But yeah, it's been a really defensive series. But yeah, that really sucks. So Minnesota has us by the balls, and we could be eliminated on home ice. Or we could go to a Game 7. But look how low scoring these games have been. No team has scored more than 3 goals. So it's been a defensive series for sure. I think I'm going to go back to Benson, even though Sweat has been good. I'm just going to make sure Benson got thrown in. Just because I think Sweat, I don't know if he's going to be a consistently good goalie. He has been really good so far. 950 save percentage. But I am going to turn to Benson, since he's technically is the better of the two overall-wise. And let me just address our penalty kill, because our penalty kill has been the worst part of this playoff run so far. We're going to split off Jaskline and Burns. Do something like that. Ooh, yeah, we'll go with that. So we're going to just readdress this penalty kill and see if that helps us win. Because if our penalty kill could start playing good, then maybe we have a better shot. Because most of the goals I think we've allowed are power play related. So let's get into game number 6 and see if we can fight off elimination. And see if we could tie the series again for the 3rd time. And then go into a game 7 where anything could potentially happen. Come on, boys. We're going to do a real-time simulation since this is an elimination game. Come on, guys. We need our big guns to step up and score goals. Did Jaskline have no points last game? I don't think he did. So I think that's his first game without a point, which is kind of nuts. Come on, guys. Who wants to score? Thornton. We need you. We need the top 6 to score goals. Burns really doesn't do much in terms of scoring in the playoffs either, so it's kind of a bit iffy. Shots are 13-12 in favor of Minnesota after 1, but it is scoreless, so that's good. But we do need our offense to step up. See what happens in the second period. But yeah, this has been a really defensive series as Teratukin opens the scoring, but Kaprizov answers less than a minute later, of course. Penalty kill. Nicely done. So our penalty kill changes work there, which is good. And Sidor scores, which is great because that's a 4th liner. He did win a Stanley Cup last year in Edmonton, but McMichael answers with a power play goal. Jaskline answers right back. Jeez, this is a really back and forth second period. Most of his teams haven't had offensive games, but if somebody scores, that's the most goals a team has scored in the playoff game before in the series, because nobody's scored 4 goals. So we're up 3-2. Shots are 26-23 after a very offensive period. Let's get some insurance here, please, boys. This has been a really weird game so far. Goaltending was there in the first period, but then all of a sudden it just disappeared, and then both teams started scoring, and Cummins ties it up. That's not good. Come on, guys, let's get that lead back. Yes, Petan, that's not again, but Sidor scored before, but Petan, let's go. That's huge. And final little bit, and we are going to a game 7 with another 1-goal win. Jeez, I was a little bit too close for comfort, but we're going to a game 7 situation. We have never had a series of leads so far, but maybe we could get it with a Game 7 win. So, Teratukin from Kapitanov and Jaskalainen, Sidor from Pasquale and Yip, Jaskalainen from Kapitanov and Thornton, and Petan from Pasquale and McGrattan. Not too bad. But yeah, Jaskalainen didn't have any points last game, but he picks up 2 this game. Petan picks up a goal, and Kapitanov picks up assists, which is good, because he's been a bit quiet. He's a sniper, but he didn't have any goals so far, I don't think, in the series, which is pretty bad. But we are going to a Game 7, which is good. Winner of the series, I don't know who they'll face, but every other series in the playoffs right now, except for in the Eastern Conference, which looks like a little bit of a mess. A lot of Game 7s over there has been determined already. So Dallas has already moved on, Edmonton has, and Anaheim. Okay, let's get into game number 7. I think I'm going to keep with Benson. Yeah, we're going to keep with Benson. There's been a lot of 1-goal games. Every game has actually been a 1-goal game except for 2 of them, which might have resulted with empty net games or goals. I don't know for sure. But here we go. Let's get into game number 7 on the road. See if we could win or take our first series lead and win the series and get on to round 2. Real-time simulation again, since it's a game 7. Might as well power play. We don't convert. And now we score. Kapitanov scores. Okay, I just mentioned him not scoring in the last game, but he does score here, which is good. And Scuderi scores to make it 2-0. Let's go. This is a very good opening period to start a game 7 situation. And then Sanders, of course, makes it a 1-goal game. And it's going to be 2-1 after 1. The shots are 10-7 in favor of Minnesota. So this might be the most offensive game of the series if more teams can continue to score in the second period and onwards. Second period, let's see what happens. We go up 3-1 immediately as Forster scores. Let's go. That's a huge one to get. And we go up 4-1 power play goal from Thornton. This is the biggest offensive game of the series so far because no team had scored 4 goals before. And Burns makes it 5-1. Okay, all of a sudden our team is a really good team. Man, looks like we might win this series in 7. As Ladikainen makes it 5-2. Hedman makes it 6-2. Jeez. Where has all this offense have been? This offense was like completely quiet for the first 6 games. And then in game 7, it's all of a sudden like, yo, I got you. So we're up 6-2 after 4 second period goals. Let's lock this down. And let's not blow this and lose 7-6 like we've done before. Or we haven't done that before in this series, but I've done that before in franchise mode. Sanders makes it 6-3. Come on, boys. Final 10 minutes, penalty kill. Nicely done. Power play for us, and Kaprizov scores immediately, 7-3. And we are going to be advancing to the second round after what looked like a year where we shouldn't really go that far, which is pretty nice. 34 shots to 32. We win 7-3 with a really good offensive performance in Game 7. So Kaprizov from Thornton and Jääskeläinen, Scuderi from Sedin and Ortiz, Forster from Afinosenkov and Sedin, Thornton from Burns, Burns from Thornton. It's kind of funny. Hedman from Kaprizov and Thornton, and Kaprizov from Tertukin and Thornton. So I think Thornton had a lot of points in that game. Yeah, 5-point game from Thornton. I think he had like 6 points last year in a game. Only 1 point from Jääskeläinen, but a lot of multi-point efforts. And then Sweat came over for Benson near the end of the game, which is kind of weird. Don't know why, but it is what it is. 3 stars of the game: Thornton the first star, Kaprizov the second star, and Javon Sanders the third. But we are off to the second round again. We're doing a lot better than my Arizona team. So let's take a look at our player stats before we see who we're up against in round number 2. Like I said, all these playoff episodes are going to be pre-recorded as usual. Let's take a look at the stats. So, starting off with our centerman, Jääskeläinen, 7 points in 7 games. Really good from him. Good to see him still playing up good playoff points even after losing some key players. He's got 96 playoff points in 84 playoff games. He is probably one of the best playoff players I've ever had. Really nice. Ortiz 3 points, Burns 2 points, Patan 2 points, and Pasquale 2 points. Good depth scoring, surprisingly, and nothing from Tursunbayev, which is a bit scary. Left wing wise, Thornton was really good, 9 points in 7 games. Obviously, a lot of those came in Game 7. Forster 3 points, and Sidor 1 goal, but it was a big goal in Game 6. Right wing wise, Kaprizov had 7 points in 7 games. Didn't score a lot of goals until late, or actually till Game 7 he had 2 goals. So yeah, interesting. Scuderi 3 points, Afinosenkov 2. And then defensively, Tertukin 3 points, Sedin 3 points, Hedman 2, McGrattan and Yip had 1, and Blacker had nothing. Just kind of bad. Goalie-wise, Benson was solid, and then Sweat was really good. It just sucks that he lost one of those games, but it is what it is. And we're off to the second round. So now we got to take a look at who we're up against in round 2. And then hopefully we could beat them. It's going to be the Dallas Stars. So we have another Battle of Texas. We played them like the last 2 seasons. Won both of them. They finished 46-30-6. And they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Interesting. Let's take a look at what their roster looks like. And then we'll also take a quick look at their stats from the playoffs so far compared to us. So what does our Texas rivals have? They have Toby Dillon still, Maxwell Schofield still, Mitch Marner, a lot of similar players to last year, I'm pretty sure. Campoli, Tomasino, and Rantoul, Nolan Foote, Dubois, and Lally Birdie. And in a fourth line of Guryanov, Newhook, and McKinley. Yeah, that's a really good forward core. And it's probably going to slap us in the face, probably. Defensively is a little bit weaker, but still not bad. Kiskinen and Heiskanen, that's interesting to say. Wild and Korobov, and then Yermo and Cormier. As for goaltending, they have Winehandle and Ron Denny. Interesting. Depth-wise, they have Brandon Carlo, Justin Alexi, and Lucas Svechkovsky. So, very interesting team. Not as good defensively, but probably an offensive powerhouse, I would say. So, anyways, guys, let's get into now the player stats, or not the player stats, the team stats for the playoffs for them, just to kind of do a comparison. I almost forgot about this, but let me quickly take a look at that, just to see what they did and we didn't. Let's actually go by Western Conference to make it a little bit better. So, there is us compared to them. So, they scored way more goals than us, not a surprise. They are better defensively than us, which is kind of a surprise. They had a worse power play than us, so our power play worked actually really good in this year in the playoffs. 33.3% in the first round. And then our penalty kill was trash. Their penalty kill has not allowed a power play goal so far, so that's kind of scary. And yeah, they're 3-0 on the road, so that's also kind of scary. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to round 2 against the Dallas Stars as we look to make it back to the conference finals against either Anaheim or Edmonton. So let me guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.